start. So we have seen, what is Git, version control system, types of version control systems, and we came to Git, and Git comes under which version control system, as well as like the basics of Git. Not even yeah, you can say basics, yeah. So like GitHub, Git, installing the Git client, as well as finally creating a repository in GitHub and cloning the repository. So we have seen cloning the repository. Finally, we have seen the life cycle also one last thing. So where we pushed our code or our changes, whatever we did, from our local copy to remote repository using Git lifecycle, which includes adding, commit, and push. So add means Git. I mean, we are adding the files whatever we have modified or whatever we are added newly to Git staging area. Why? Because then only it will start tracking those files. That's why we add it. Once we add, we commit it. Of course, we can add multiple times. There is nothing wrong in that. Let's say I have added now. After some time, I forgot. Okay, I remembered one thing. I modify that file and I have to re-add it again. Otherwise, it won't take it. So every time you change even a single letter, single character, you have to add it, which is fine. Add multiple times. There is nothing wrong. Now commits also. Once you add it, okay, adding is fine. Git is started tracking it. What is commit then? Is commit means we are committing our changes in the local repo. I mean, demo is my local repo as of now. So we are committing changes to this repo. It means we are telling that, hey, these are my final changes. That's why we are committing it. Of course, we need to give some message while committing, so it will be useful. Of course, you can commit multiple times, but we don't do like that. Let's say you forgot one line to add. You cannot do anything, right? So you have to add that line. You have to add it and commit again. But we'll make sure before committing, we'll make sure everything is in place. Everything is ready or not. Let's say you're writing some configuration file. Let's say Apache conf or Nginx conf. You'll make sure before committing whether everything is working or not, everything is present or not in that file. Of course, if you miss it, we cannot do anything. We have to recommit again, which is fine, no worries. But don't we don't make unnecessary commits and all. We'll make commits, but we don't make unnecessary commits. Commits are very important because commits are the one which will preserve your history. That we'll see now. Don't worry. And finally, once your commits are done, you have to push it. Push to where? To your origin remote repository. To your origin here. Let me log in to here. You can see. Oh, what the heck? Okay, this is my commit message which I gave, and yesterday I committed one commit. I did one commit in this repository so far because yesterday was just one time. What is this 5b something it is showing? This is the commit ID. Whenever you commit something, it will generate a random ID for it because, as I told you, GitHub does not know, system does not know names, the numbers only. So you cannot understand your message. Of course, your commit message is for you to understand. See, you cannot remember this ID, right? Obviously, if there are 1,000 commits in this repository, you cannot obviously remember it. But by this, okay, 3 files changed, something. Okay, maybe you'll remember something. So it's for you. The commit message is for you to remember. But commit ID is for the GitHub. Got it? So let's add something again. Let's cut something maybe and push it again. New file. out, right? Just creating some file, whatever it is. Git add, as I told you, add dot or star, or if you want only one file to add new file. I mean, that also is fine. If you have multiple files, don't give file one by one file like that. Just give dot or star. Now check the status, git status. It's in green means it's in staging area. Now we have to commit it. Git commit -m, add one more file. Just the commit message just for me to understand it. See, one file changed, one insertion means that's what happened now. Git push, sorry, git push. Username, password. Pushed, done. Where is it? Not this. See, new file is here. That's it. Now, these three were yesterday. See now, and observe here two commits now. Because in this repository I've committed twice. See, add three files yesterday or one more files. See the IDs. See, and see the commit message here, the new one, right? So what happens is GitHub always shows you the latest version. The latest version it will always show you. So commit message. If you want to go to the old version, let's say, click on the commits. I want to see what's inside here, or I want to see the content data or something. Click on it. You'll see what has been changed. If you just click on browse files, it will take you that. See, new file is not there now. I mean, it's not deleted. It is there. We just went back to the old version of the repo so that we want to see something. And if you want to come back, just click on refresh or something, it will come back. Of course, how to go back, come back, something. These all we'll see, in the class through commands. We don't do like this. There are commands. We'll see that. Don't worry. So now, git push. Pushing our changes from local to remote, which is fine. From local to remote again. Remember, from your local laptop to your remote repository here. Now I want to pull. Push is okay. Pulling also should be there, right? Git pull. What does that mean? Git pull is you are pulling the changes from remote repository to local. See, someone updated the file here. Let's say maybe add a file, create new file, apache2.conf, just as an example. Something. Here directly commit. So create apache2 file, blah blah blah, commit. See, we got a new file, but check here. Obviously not there because the file is created directly in the remote repository, not in the local repository, because that's why it's not there. So now I want here also, whatever the changes file, the new content is there in the remote repository, it should be here because it has to be in sync. What I have to do? Simply, all you have to do, earlier what you did, you pushed the code, you made changes and you pushed the code. Now you just pull it, git pull. Of course, it will ask for password. Let me just git pull. See, apache2.conf 2++ means it's whatever the content inside. One file changed. See, apache2.conf came here. Git pull. See, git pull. Easy. Pulling the changes from remote repository to your local. Let's add one more. Let's add nginx.conf. There is no pushing and all here. When you directly create or update some file in the remote repository, because you're directly doing over there. What is there to push? Just a commit only. As I told you, commits are important. So if you see commit changes, what I'm doing, but there is no push. Why I need to push? Why I'm pushing is because my changes are in my local repository. That's why I'm pushing to remote. But now I'm making changes directly in the remote. Why the hell I need to push it? That's why there is no push. So now again, git pull, it'll work obviously. It'll ask for password, blah blah and everything. It'll take it. So instead of pull, there is something called git fetch. Because again it'll ask for password. Okay. So it did something. He'll take it as a password wrong. That's okay. It did something, of course. It pulled, but it's not visible here. If you observe the nginx.conf, which is not present. So what happened here is, I think you might know git pull and git fetch. The There are not much differences actually. I mean, in general terms, I'm saying, not in git. Fetch and pull, almost similar, right? But why there are two commands here? That is one thing. First, let's start with pull. So what happens is, when you pull, what happened automatically? It took it pulled the latest changes, whatever is not present in your local laptop, but present in uh, remote. It automatically pull it, and it automatically saved it here in your local copy. But git fetch, it did not do that. Of course, git fetch also, what it will do, it will fetch the latest changes. I mean, whatever not present, in your local copy, it will fetch that. It will, similar to pull, it will fetch that changes. But if you observe, it won't merge automatically here. It won't update the local copy automatically. You know why? Let me tell the difference again. So git pull, when you do git pull, what happens? It will read, pull all the changes, whatever it's not there in the local repository, and it will update it automatically. It will update the local copy automatically, of course, which we seen with this apache2.conf. It's updated the local repo automatically. But git fetch also does the same thing, but it did not updated the local copy automatically. We have to update it manually. How to update it is, so there is a command git merge. Merge is separate concept, but for now just remind this. When you do merge origin main nginx.conf kmc, both are doing same thing, but pull looks easier, right? See, what we are doing in fetch is we are doing two actions. First thing, we are fetching the changes. I mean, whatever the changes which are not present, we are fetching it. Another thing is we are merging something. We are using some command called merge. We'll see that tomorrow. What is merge? And something called origin slash main. That also we'll see in a few minutes. We're doing something here. And then it nginx.conf came. But when I just do git pull, nothing shows. Just automatically my file came. What's happening here is, as I told you, git pull is equal to git fetch plus git merge. It means git pull, what happens is, it will pull the latest changes from your remote repository, automatically merge it with your local copy. I mean local repository. That's what happening. It will do two actions: git fetch and git merge. But git fetch, what happens is, it will just fetch your changes until you merge with your local copy, local repo. It won't do it. Why the hell I need to use fetch here in this case is sometimes I just want to fetch uh, the changes from the remote repository to my local, but I don't want the changes to be mixed with to be updated with the local copy automatically. I'm making some changes. Once those changes are done, then I'll merge those changes whichever pulled from the remote repository by myself manually. So those will be cases sometimes. That's why we use fetch. Most commonly asked question interviews, if they ask about Git, what is the difference between Git pull and Git fetch? Most ask, just a simple answer. Git pull, which pulls the latest, which pulls the changes from remote repository to local repository and merge the changes with the local repository automatically. But Git fetch, it will fetch the latest changes from the remote repository just like pull, but it won't merge it automatically. We have to merge it manually whenever we require that, whenever we needed that. That's the only difference. Okay, you are saying we can merge it whenever we required, but where the hell it stores all these things? So let's go to dot. There is a folder called .git which I haven't created it. When you create a repository, so this .git folder will create automatically, which will be managed by Git itself for its purpose. Inside Git there is something called refs folder. Go inside it. Inside this there is something called remotes and origin, something called main. This is a file. It will store here. What is the main and all, what is head, that we'll see, don't worry. But this is where git fetch stores whatever it's fetched from the remote repository without merging it. So once we do git merge command, where is it? Git merge origin main, whatever it is, we'll explain, we'll see. So this will take the changes from here, this path. Got it? Dot git refs remote origin, in that it will be stored. That's the difference between git fetch and git pull. So now we have two commits, right? We have three commits, I believe, or four. We have four commits overall because I added new two files separately. We can see from here, but there is a command to check that also. Git log, which will show all the commits. This is from top to bottom. Top is the old one, bottom is the latest one. Bottom is the old one, obviously yesterday's. One more file, Apache 2 latest is nginx.conf. So top, whichever is there, that is the latest commit. As I told you, Git always picks shows you the latest changes only, not the old one, unless you tell Git. That we will see tomorrow, day after tomorrow maybe. So like this, Git always shows the latest, and of course this is the commit ID, as I told you. Let's show the hell man. Let's see. E810 is the latest. E810. Of course, this is a full ID. There it just shows 6 or 7 something. See the IDs. See the commit messages which we added. By this we'll understand. But we can't remember this commit IDs. Git remembers that based on that. So it does not. We don't we don't need to remember that. And who is the author, date and time when it pushed, and the commit message. And you're seeing something called head. You know what is head means? It's like a top of the commit history. This is all commit history, right? We have 4 commit, which is a history, commit history. So whatever the commit is in top of this history, we call it head. See, where is the head in our body? It's on top of it, right? On top of everything. Similar way here, head means it's top of the commit history, which is the latest. That's why it is pointing. It is calling. We call it head because it's latest one. It's on top. What is origin main? Main that we'll see now. Don't worry. Got it? That's about head. Head means just nothing but which is latest one, which is top of our commit history. Got it? That is called head. HEAD. We don't do anything for this head. It will automatically point to the latest one. Now, if I do one more commit, a new commit, let's say, this head will point to that. Let's see that. Yay, just 1, 2, 3 something. I'm just adding some random things. No need to add files every time just for committing test practice and all. Just edit the existing files also. Let's say engine Apache to conf git status. Yeah, see, I just why I am adding new file every time, because to show you the difference clearly. That's it. That's the only thing. Git add, git commit -m testing head. Just I'm just writing something. Now type git log. See, testing head. This is our new commit, right? And see here, it's the head is pointing, but there forget it. That we'll see now. But see here, the head is pointing here. It means now this is the top of the commit history, right? That's why it is pointing like that. That's why. That's how head works. We can shift the head, but that's another topic. We'll see that on Friday maybe. But yeah, this is how currently head works. Now coming back to what are these main origin. Origin means, as I told you yesterday, origin is nothing but our original repository where is present. Origin repository, remote repository, both are same. So don't get confused over there. Local repository means where the copy which you have in your local laptop. Origin remote means where it's present in GitHub. So origin means your uh, original repository where it's present. Okay, and what is this showing? Origin head here. Origin slash head means, in the origin, means in the remote repository, this is the head. This is the latest commit, because we haven't pushed this yet, right? This commit is still in my local repo, not in remote, because I haven't pushed it. If I pushed it, this origin head also will point to here, because currently your remote repository, your origin is still pointing to this commit only. That's what it mentioned. Let's push it. Git push. I have to copy it again. Done. Git log. See now, testing head, origin head is pointing to here, because now your local head, which is this pointing to this commit, and your origin head, both are same, because you pushed your changes to your remote repository. I mean to your origin. That's why. Got it? That's about origin and head. Then what the hell is main? Main is a branch in our repository. A branch. If it is a tree, of course that's the branch. Tree is there. There will be multiple branches, right? Similar way here, if there is a repository, there will be multiple branches, and main is the default one. See here, the main. We have all branches. Of course, there is only one branch as of now. I haven't created anything. But what is branch? Why the hell we need it? See, one thing here is, we set up a strategy to work with Git. What is that setup? What is the strategy? Why the hell we need strategy in the first place? Imagine, let's take an example. A strategy example maybe, yeah, let's take main only. Currently, we have only one branch, or we don't know about branches at all completely. Let's say if developers are pushing their code here to this repository by default to main branch, obviously. Even though I haven't mentioned any time main, right? Just git push only. We have to mention the branch here, but I haven't mentioned because you don't understand it now. Earlier, that's why I haven't did it. Now, if you understand, I'll add it. Git push hyphen u origin main. This is the original command of git push. Hyphen u means upstream. You are pushing it. Origin means the source, obviously. This is the branch name. Based on branch name, we have to define here, and it will push it. Obviously, it will ask for password. Yeah, that's fine. I already have it. We'll see that again. Don't worry. So now, coming back to our example, so we have like 10 developers are there, everyone pushing their code, whatever it is. It's fine. We are testing it. We are testing it, and let's say our testings are finished, all are good. We want to deploy it, right? We'll deploy this code directly. It's working fine now. In a production, the code is working fine. Its application is working fine. No issues. Now we need to implement new features, right? Now we need to implement new feature, right? We will use the same branch, because if we use the same branch, the running existing one will affect, because we are using the same branch. Correct? See what's happening? This branch, I mean, this code in the default main. Let's take default main branch. Everyone pushing there, and we deployed the code which is in the main branch into production environment. So everyone all over the world, people are using it. Now again, we need to work. We need to work on new feature. So, but we have only one branch. Obviously, we need to work on the same branch. But if you push some change, it will affect the existing running, in the production, which is whichever is, because it's so one branch we are using for everything, which is not a good approach, right? That's why we set a strategy. We set a strategy with the help of these branches. So we'll divide, okay, main branch for production. So, and we'll create multiple branches like this for testing purpose, for development purpose, like that. For your local development purpose, for your testing purpose, for lower environments where we will be testing this code, right, before pushing to production. That those branches will create through a cycle. Will finally update our code in this branch, which is called main default, where we'll point to production. So let me just hope you can see my screen. This is the main branch. Correct. Let's simply branches, main branch, which is pointing to production, production. So we don't touch this by default. We'll create a few. I mean, how generally how the branching names look like is release branch. Yeah. uh, Release development, dev or develop or development, future branches, future slash whatever the name, let's say login something. So what happens is, starting from bottom, developers will create their own branches. We don't need to create it. Of course we can create also, that is also fine, which is completely fine. I mean, there is nothing wrong. So first, let's say developer. I'm a developer. I want to work on login page. That's my new feature. So what I'll do, I'll create my branch like this. If you want to create a branch, you need to create it from something, some other branch. That's the thing, right? So you're creating something. See, without a tree, you cannot. The branch won't come, right? So you have to. We'll be creating all these branches from main branch, which we made default. So what happens now is, we'll create, developers usually work on future branches. they'll write the code and everything. Once the code is done, they'll update their this branch code into develop, whatever development or dev, all are same, don't worry. So they'll update their code to this branch. Instead of update, I'll say one more thing called merge. They'll merge their code into here. Got it? They'll merge their code into this branch, dev branch, and again they'll do a couple of testings and all in this branch also. From here again they'll merge the code to release. From release again they'll merge the code to main. This is the strategy which generally follows. Starting from feature branch, this feature branch created from main again. See the cycle now. Main is the default. So from there we'll create a feature branch. Feature we once the code is done. I mean, let's say that my part is done. I'll merge to dev branch. From dev to release to main again. Earlier we used to call it master. Now GitHub changed it. Main or master both are same. Master branch. So that's how we do it. This is the branching strategy. But why the hell we need is for the development purpose we need this strategy. See, without the strategy, as I told you, just if we have just one branch, so you have to test in that branch, you have to deploy that branch. If you do some small change in that branch, obviously developers are doing, right. Every day we have to develop things. We'll be writing new code and everything. If it is one branch, we are messing up everything. We are messing up everything. That's why we used to we need some strategy for this branch management. By default, Git comes with sorry. By default, Git comes with main branch or master branch. Earlier master, now whenever you create a new repository, it will be main only. Don't worry. And that is the default branch. We'll be creating our own branches out of that, and we'll be using it. You can create a branch through command line or through C UI. I mean UI means from the GitHub. Anything. Got it? And there will be few more. This is general cycle branching strategy. Let's say now there is something called hotfix branch. Hotfix also one thing. Hotfix means, so let's say you push to main, which means you deploy to production. Suddenly one issue came, which does not happen in any of these branches or any of these environments. What you have to do? You know what you do at the time? Immediately you will create one hotfix branch from main, sorry, and fix whatever the issue you are facing and merge to main. That's one of the things which we do. Got it? That's one of the thing. Sorry. Is it clear or is it confusing? Let me know. I'll explain it again. Okay. There is documentation, all of course, not only mine, so anyone's which will clear. To keep it simple, uh, an example maybe, let's say you are mm, let's take a car, let's say, maybe a good example, maybe. So if you want to learn the car, directly just sit in the car and you just drive it. No, right? You'll follow some basic steps, knowing about it, knowing about the environment, and making sure uh, you know you know what to do, or you know what you're doing at least. Maybe it's too confusing. It's okay. Uh, just let's focus on this one maybe instead of example. As I told you, we will be creating branches because we will be working actively every day. We means the developers, who maybe us also will be working actively, pushing our changes. I have pushed 3 times today, right? Like that, there will be multiple times developers will be pushing, or we also will be pushing by our configuration changes, whatever it is. Imagine if there is one branch which, you know, not a stable one. I mean, not a good approach to use that one branch. And usually, what happens is, multiple environments will be there in organizations. Multiple environments, because again the strategy, future lower, and we call it in local environments, local env, and dev will be pointing to dev env. There are different names. Release will be pointing to qa env or stage env. Of course, this is prod env, obviously I mentioned here already. Why the hell we need these environments, and what is the link between branches and the environments? Environment means nothing but a bunch of servers, that's it. Like that bunch of servers, we have four different groups. Why? Because, as I told you, if you write even a single line of code, no one deploys that directly into production, no one releases that, because we need to test it, right? We need to test in multiple environments, multiple scenarios. That's why we have multiple, envs. Env means environment. So in local environment, I have only one server, I'll test it over there. In dev env, maybe three servers, I'll test it over there. I will means whoever is responsible for it. In qa or stage environment, I'll test over there, or uat also they'll call it. And prod, no testing in prod. Don't test in prod, right? We'll just deploy it, we'll release it. Once you release your application or your product to customer, you don't test it anymore, correct? You release an app, or let's say a new app, it came, application came, people already started using it, now you tested the app. In the production, no, you don't test it. You test only in the lower environments, because this is in your control. Of course, all are in control, but this being used by everyone. So here, each feature branch or dev branch or release branch or main or master, everything will be pointing to specific environments. And as I told you, local to production will go. It means feature to main. So we'll merge from feature to dev, develop to release, release to main. Of course, we don't merge it directly. There will be approvers, reviewers. I'll show you that maybe tomorrow at least. So we can see that. Don't worry. Got it. So that's how the strategy works. That's how we. I mean, the names may be different. I told you, some people will use release, some people develop, blah blah something, main, master, future slash login means this is a feature name. If you want to work on some other feature, let's say maybe payment, the branching name will be like this. We don't care about this. This will be created by developers. So whenever they want, it is fine. But I'm just giving you example. In my organization, we have feature slash Jira ticket ID. Let's say ADAS 1345, something like this. This is the ticket which I will be working on, whatever the feature it is. So the branch name should be like this, so that everyone, whoever is looking it, they'll understand. Okay, this branch is for that ticket. This guy is working on blah blah blah, something like that. That's why. Sorry. So hope it's clear at least somewhat the branching strategy, why we use it, and how it looks like. And usually we point the branches to environments. So it means this branch code, whatever is there, will deploy in this environment. This branch code will deploy in this environment. This branch, same here, same deploy here. Same, this branch code will deploy in here. That's what it means. That's what it means. Got it? So we can create branches from UI also. Simply, let's say test. So of course, there is no branch, right? It will say, see, create branch test from main. Why? Because there is only one branch, and the main, we are in main, and we are creating branch from there, means it will create from main. Just create it. See, now let's say I'm in test. Obviously, see here, test, it changed. So what happens is when you create a branch from one branch, all the data will come to that. All the data, whatever. So I created test branch from main branch, right? That's what I did. So what happened? All the files, content, whatever inside the main branch came to test now. Let's create dev branch. Observe here. Creating dev from test. Why the hell like that? Because I'm currently inside the test branch. So when you creating a new branch, wherever currently you are in which branch currently you are in, it will be created from that. It means it whatever the data present in that branch, which where currently you are right now in, it will take everything. That's why like this. See, branches came. But of course, in our local copy, uh, it currently you are in main you are on main branch. If you want to check all the branches, git branch, just one branch because we haven't took the latest changes. I mean the branches whatever we created in sorry GitHub, it's not reflecting here. We have to fetch it. If we fetch it, it will come. The command is git fetch origin. I need to execute 1 minute. See, branches came. Just type git branch. Git branch is the command to check the local branches. But why still it is not visible? But it's showing something here. What's happening is, as I told you, fetch. It took the branches from remote, but it's not created here automatically. We can create it. We can create it like that. So what happens now is these branches is created in remote, correct? That's what we did. Now we have to uh, get those branches to our local copy. So obviously I did git fetch origin, which fetched the branches. Origin, the source, I mean wherever it is, it fetched everything. Now what you have to do is, you will be creating a branch out of the source. What does it mean? See, you're seeing main, right? And of course here there is main by default, correct? And it's a local copy, correct? Whatever you have in your laptop, it's a local repo, and this main is your local branch, but this main is linked with remote branch called main, correct? That's what happening currently. They are not same. This is why we are calling local repo remote repo. If they are same, they are not same. They are just a copy of it, right? So we did clone, so we got a new copy, correct? We got a new copy. So this copy, in this copy, local copy, I mean local repo, there is branch called main, which is linked to the main branch in remote. Similar way here, we got branches from origin, from remote repository. Now we have to create branches out of these local branches like dev1 test to use it. That's what we have to do. There are two ways to do this. Git checkout -b. What is the branch dev? I want that will be local name. Origin dev, from this branch I want to create. See, now you are in dev branch, which is linked with origin dev. It means the remote repository dev branch. Same thing for test also you can do. Test, simply just check out this one more command I'll tell you. Git checkout. What is the branch name? Test. Oh, my bad. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, this won't work. We have have to do like this one. Git branch. See, now we have local branches called dev test and main, which are linked to or which are pointing to the remote repository branches dev test and main. That's how it works. See, we have a local copy, not the original repo. We have a local repo where we cloned from the original and we are using it. But of course, this local repo and the remote repo both are linked together, both are connected together, synced, in sync. That's why we can able to push, pull, and everything. If they are not in sync, we cannot do anything. Got it? They are in sync. That's why we are able to see all these things. That's why we are able to see main branch, because when you cloned yesterday, by default it cloned the main branch automatically. So what is the command to clone the repo? If you remember, git clone the repo URL, right? Like this. Of course, I cannot clone it again because I'm in the same folder. I can clone it different folder, which is fine. So this will automatically clone the main branch. If you want to clone a specific branch, hyphen b dev, b means branch obviously, hyphen b dev, you can give like this. Got it? So what happens? This will clone this specific branch called dev. If you don't specify anything, the default branch will be cloned, which is main by default in our case. Got it? So now git branch, we have created a branch. I mean, of course, we haven't created, we created means we created the branch in remote. We just create a local branch with command called git checkout hyphen b, referring to linking to, or you can say mapping to uh, remote branch. This is one way of approach. If you have a remote branch, you can do like this. You can create branches in locally also. Simple command is git branch. It will show you the see, I've executed a command, but it says not a git repository. These git commands only work inside the repository, inside the local repository. I'm outside currently, I forgot. That's why. Now try git branch. See? Now if you want to create one more branch, git branch name maybe QA. Done. Git branch, see? It came. Of course, I'm still in test branch. So I created a QA branch from test branch. So whatever the data, whatever the code inside this test branch automatically copied to this new QA branch. Now I want to go to the QA branch. How to go? Git checkout QA. You'll go there. Git branch to see all the branches. Git branch, the branch name to create a new branch. Git checkout, the branch name. Will go to that branch. You'll switch. Sorry, or you can go to there. Both are same. What if this command I use git checkout? Sorry, hyphen b. Let's say prod something. I'm just giving some random names. You know what happens with this command? Git checkout means it will go to branch. Correct? Git checkout hyphen b. What happens is, it will switch to the branch prod, and if it does not exist, it will create it automatically. See, we don't have the branch called prod, but with this command git checkout hyphen b I passed it, means it will create a new branch if it is the branch does not exist, and it will switch it automatically. Type git branch, obviously. See where like that. Simple as that. Creating a new branch, switching the branches. Git checkout. If you want to go something, git checkout. Test. You can go test. See, as simple as that. Let's say test 1. The branch does not exist. It will throw error. If you pass hyphen b, it will create the branch, it will switch to it. If you require, you can do like that if you want to create a new branch. Now I want to change the branch name, maybe git, where is it, sorry, branch hyphen m. What is the old name? From prod to, I want to change to production. Just wait, hyphen m, my bad, I changed it. Let's check git branch C production instead of prod. Same thing. See, as simple as that. Now I want to delete a branch. There are two things here: deleting a local branch and deleting a remote branch. Deleting a local branch, what does it mean is the branch, let's say here we created this production branch here, right? And we created QA in locally. We haven't pushed these changes yet. Correct? We haven't pushed it yet. To remote. It means they're still local branches only. GitHub, the remote repository, does not know about it. Even we haven't committed at all. Just creating randomly playing it, that's it. So we the remote does not know about QA and production branches yet because we haven't done it. Got it? So deleting local branches are easy. Simple. Git branch hyphen D. What is you want to create? Production. What is you want to delete? Sorry, not create. Deleted branch production. Git branch. See, it's gone. It is a local branch. You want to delete a QA? Same thing. Git branch hyphen D QA. These are these are local branches because we haven't pushed these changes yet. But now our branches main and test. Don't delete main. So dev and test are remote branches. It means they are, you know, they are already in a remote repository, right? Then how to deal it? Then the command is little difference. You know what happens? Same thing. Git push origin. Sorry, origin hyphen delete the, what is the branch name, test, let's say. Obviously it will ask for my password. Let me just type it. Branch is deleted. Test branch is deleted. Of course, this is fine. When we switch it, it won't be visible. Git checkout. I'm switching the branch to main. Now let's refresh. Sorry, refresh. Test should not. Is it test I'm deleted? Oh, yeah, obviously. Test should not exist. See, test is still in local. Of course, once you push it from test, it will appear here again. That way, that also we'll see. So now this is how you delete it. Git branch hyphen D means local branches you can delete, or capital D. Sometimes branch won't delete, so you can use capital D also to delete local branches. To delete a remote branch, which means which already present in the remote repository, you have to use git push origin hyphen delete the branch name because you are pushing the change to delete the branch. Then only knows it. Then only GitHub knows it. The remote repository knows it. So now I told creating the branches, switching the branches, deleting them also, but I haven't told it how to push from one branch. Let's say I'm in dev currently. Sorry, I'm in main. Sorry, let's switch to dev. Git checkout, or let's switch to test. See, it's not there. The upstream is gone. The origin. See, this branch is based on origin test. That's what I told it earlier. This local repo is a copy of, you know, what is it? Remote repos. But the upstream is gone. Upstream means the origin, the remote repository, which is gone. But still, the local copy exists. Why the local copy exists? We haven't deleted that. We haven't deleted it. Now we see dev also. We have this is a local branch which is pointing to the main branch or origin branch, right? But we deleted the origin test but not the local. Git check how, sorry, git branch hyphen capital D or small d, and you can able to use what is the test branch is deleted. Now we are in dev. See the branch also now. Simple. Now let's make some change here. Maybe a test file. This is from dev branch. Just test something blah blah blah. Whatever it is, it does not really care. Now git status, obviously you will see on branch dev, or add it. Git add and commit both are same. Now push, the push will be difference, except we just difference means we just point the branch, that's it. Git push hyphen u sorry dev, that's it, that's the only command. Earlier I used git push only, right? But now I'm just using hyphen u origin the branch name, because if you use git push it will go to main by default. Now it's not main, right? It's dev branch. That's why I have to give origin dev. Origin dev means the remote, wherever the remote repository is there. That's what we call origin, as I mentioned. In the origin, push to dev branch. That's what we are mentioning here. Hyphen u means upstream. We are pushing it. That's why hyphen u. Enter. Obviously, say it's pushed. Go here. Go here. Dev has the recent push 3 seconds ago. Where is the test file? See, yes. Sorry, let's refresh this. 1 minute ago. See, this is this is not present in master. See, I'm in dev, right? Just switch to master main. Sorry. See, it's not in master. Why? Because I made a change in dev branch only, and I pushed to dev branch. But it's not. It won't reflect in master. That's the whole point of branches. Correct? That's the whole thing. The main point is separate everything. Have a branching strategy. Separate everything, whatever your changes, whatever the main have, whatever the other branch have, so that it won't affect it won't affect by displaying these changes. That's why dev changes, I push to dev, it means it will store only in the dev branch, not in other branches. If I push to main, it will show only in main. If I push to something else, it will be only in that branch, not in everything, not in every branches. Got it? That's the whole point of branches. Got it now? So whatever you push, it will be only present in that branch. Got it? Is it clear? So that's what today's class about branching. I think what I think we have seen maybe 5 or 6 commands mostly, but see, commands are not the important ones. You will get commands in Google also. I'll share the document. You'll get the commands in that also. But the difference is why we are using that commands. The concept is important. The understanding is important. Understanding of the concept is important. Once you get the concept, commands are nothing. They are very easy. But the concept, why the branching strategy, what is the git pull, git fetch, git clone, add, commit, push, all these things are important. Got it? That's what I mean, like that's for today's class, branches and everything. Tomorrow we'll see my doubt now. Okay, maybe tomorrow. Why to confuse you now again. So we'll see tomorrow same time 6:45 until 8. We'll meet at same time. And again, keep practice. If you don't practice it, you don't understand it. Got it? So yeah, that's about it. So yeah, let's close this. Bye, bye everyone. Have a nice day.